Whew, okay. Rough. Woof. Good morning. It is a Monday morning, week 4 of my revisions boot camp. It is about 6 o'clock, so I'm getting started on my revisions. Yay! And I'm excited. I've got all of my notes that I took during my read through. I'm just going to go on Scrivener and then transfer all of my handwritten notes onto Scrivener to the sections that they apply. Yeah, it's too early for speaking. I feel this new excitement to get working on the book because I'm excited to actually work now and actually do writing, and hopefully I can transfer these notes quickly so that I can also start rewriting the first chapter today, because I'm excited to do that. I think I have a good idea of what I want for the first chapter. I've gotten a lot of questions about what Revisions Bootcamp is exactly, if it's some kind of official thing or program, but I don't know what Revisions Bootcamp is. It's just my journey to revise my novel, and there's no set amount of weeks or deadlines. There were in the beginning, but it took me way longer to do the read through than I thought. I was hoping the read through would take me a week. It took me 3. So I guess we're just going to see this boot camp is just going to be as long as it takes me to revise my novel, but ideally I would like to have it done sooner than later. So if I could get this done by the end of March, I think I'd be sitting pretty good. So all right, I'm gonna get started on transferring these notes over. Here we go. Doesn't it just drive you bonkers when you write down notes for your book and then when you actually need them you can't find them anywhere? And it's like they're everywhere when you don't need them, and then when you actually need them you can't find them. That happened to me the other day. So I'm going for a walk right now. It's my lunch break at work, and it's not too cold outside. It's kind of a gray day, but not too bad, so I thought get some exercise. But basically, so I finished transferring all of my read-through notes into Scrivener and managed to do some light editing here and there and fixing a few things. But I found through the read-through there were a lot of cases where I gave the same character 2 different names because I kept forgetting what their name was, and I was too lazy to... This person just drove up next to me and it's creeped me out. I'm just gonna keep walking. Oh, I was just trying to keep my pace going, my writing pace going, and so I just left a blank space where I couldn't remember the name, or I put in a filler, or I thought I could remember the name, so I wrote a totally different name. So I had to go through and fix that, and there was one character whose name I came up with years ago in my writing of the book. It was in my original draft, but not in my current one at all, because I kept just leaving it blank. I couldn't remember the name, and so I was trying to find it, and I could not find it anywhere. And I was like, I know I have written this name down in several notebooks, and I couldn't find it in any of them, and it was driving me insane. Does that ever happen to you guys? Of course not. You're all way more organized than I am, right? I need to create my character profiles, basically. I know most people do that before they even start drafting, but I have not done that. I thought, oh, I know these characters well enough, I'm not going to need that. But it's not true. I found there were a lot of inconsistencies, like I was inconsistent with the color of somebody's eyes, and if they were tall or short, things like that. Things that so many people warn about that I just thought for some reason I was above. So anyways, so that's what I'm gonna do with my time today, is I'm just gonna make sure I get down all the most important character traits and everything in like a kind of basic character sketches on Scrivener, and I'll show you guys that when I get home. But anyways, just wanted to give a little bit of an update on how my revisions are going, and now I'm gonna get back to work. Hey guys, so it is a couple days later and I just realized that I need to close this vlog because technically we're in week 5 now, and this was supposed to be the week 4 vlog of my revisions boot camp. So I just was going for a walk on my lunch break, and it looks like it's going to try to start snowing soon, so I just ducked into this little dry place and thought I'm just gonna close this vlog up now. So I just had a couple of things that I wanted to say. First of all, so the first 4 weeks of my revisions boot camp, were there any revisions that actually happened? Not really. So the first few weeks were spent, for those of you who might not have seen, were spent in doing my read through of my manuscript because the script ended up being way longer than I anticipated. So the read through took a long time, and then the last several days I've spent pretty much just trying to organize everything. The biggest thing that I did the last couple of days was I created all my little character sketches in Scrivener. So in Scrivener, on the sidebar, there's kind of, they call it the binder, where it's kind of all the various files are organized. So I found that, oh my gosh, this is going to be so helpful having all this in Scrivener now, because I used to write character sketches in Google Docs, and then I'd have to scroll through all the Google Docs to find the right character sketch or the right random scene that I had written. And now I could just put all of those in Scrivener, and I can see them right there on the left hand of my screen as I'm writing. So it makes it really easy to just go back and check someone's name or their height or their eye color just really easily without having to scroll through all these documents or, you know, try to find which random notebook I wrote those notes in. Sorry, I'm shivering, which is why the camera is kind of shaking a little bit. But yeah, so now I'm feeling much more organized, and I'm to the point where I'm ready to just sit down and actually do some writing and revising, actual revising. I know I've already said that, but now it's true. So the other night I just sat on the couch and I was like, okay, it's time to rewrite the first chapter. And I sat there and I sat there and stared into space for what must have been half an hour to 45 minutes, thinking of all these different ways I could restart the first chapter. And this is something that I've been thinking about for months already. But here's the problem, I think, is about 2 years ago, when I first set out to actually dive into this project and rewrite this book, I spent so many months just working on the beginning of the book that I ended up writing too much and creating too many characters, just making it way more complicated than it needed to be. There's something to be said for fast drafting, in that when you fast draft, you're not creating a lot of unnecessary fluff necessarily. You're just doing like the bare bones of the story, what really needs to be written and what really needs to be said. And since I focused way too much on trying to create all this backstory and the characters, I just created too much stuff, and now I'm at the point where I'm having a hard time sifting through everything in the first chapter to decide what actually needs to be in the story and what is fluff. And most of it is fluff right now, which I spent so long working on it that I've become attached to these characters and different scenes that I have been having a hard time just being like, okay, this character is actually not necessary. They never show up again in the story, and even though I like this scene, it just needs to be cut because it doesn't move the story along. It just slows down that forward momentum that needs to be happening in the first chapters. So this is what next week is going to be all about, is just rewriting those first chapters, and I'm going to do my best to actually just fast draft them, because I feel like thinking about them too much, I'm going to keep having the same problem of creating all this unnecessary fluff that doesn't need to be there. If this is something that any of you have struggled with, please let me know below, because I'd love to, I don't know, I wonder how common it is to be this much of an overwriter. Like, the struggle's real, let me tell you. I'm gonna close this now, but just really briefly, Camp NaNoWriMo is coming up. Holy cow, I can't believe we're already at Camp NaNoWriMo, but I'm really excited about it. I thought it would take me a lot longer to want to get back into the NaNoWriMo groove because it was so exhausting in November, but I'm actually really excited to just get my writing space back to being organized and, you know, making this more of a regular thing. And so I'm thinking of starting my own cabin this year, because last year when I did Camp Nano, I was just in a cabin with a bunch of people I didn't know, which was cool. But I think now that I've made some more friends on AuthorTube, it would be fun to do a cabin together. So I know a lot of you, maybe if you've decided to do Camp Nano, maybe you already have a cabin you want to be in. But if any of you are interested in being in a cabin with me, let me know below, and I'll try to see if I can send an invite or figure out how to create a cabin or something, because I think it would be really fun to be in a cabin with a lot of you guys. So yeah, let me know below, and with that, I'm going to close this vlog and get back inside to work before it starts snowing out here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Happy writing. Bye.
Would you come and take a walk with me? We'll cross over the mountains and we'll reach the pale blue sea. I love you, I'm so glad you love me too. And I wrote this song for you. Every word I say is true.